Are you doing? Today, I really want to talk to you about boundaries. Boundaries. I am live everywhere, or like I wish I was, but I'm not. But I am certainly live in my Facebook group and on Instagram. So I'm going to look a bit like a meerkat as usual. But I'm really looking forward to talking to you about this today. So, as I know that boundaries can help your sales, I really do. And I want to tell you why. I'm going to go through a few things with you today. That moment when I realized my group program wasn't selling because I was attracting the wrong people. I'm going to share with you exactly what happened in that moment, my aha moment, where I realized that my group program that I had spent so long putting everything together, the pre-launch, the launch, the webinar, I had done so much work, and I had this moment of realization that it wasn't working. And I realized exactly why it didn't work. And I'm going to share that with you today so that it doesn't happen to you and so that you can take the steps to coaching and creating group programs or one-to-one experiences that sell really easily. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you today. I'm going to share the story of what happened to me and how I had that almost Oprah moment of, oh my goodness, what have I done? Okay. Then I'm going to share 5 steps, 5 tips with you on, how you can check in on your boundaries and make them work for you so that you really sell in a way that's authentic to you, and you use boundaries to make sure that you are selling your program the way you want to. And may that be a group program or a one-to-one program. Okay. So stay to the end, because if I'm honest, number 5 is the juiciest one. Okay, number 5, my 5th tip is the juiciest one, so stay until the end. Okay, so I'm going to start off in this very room, in fact. This very room, gosh, over a year ago now, so it is a good while ago. And I was waiting. I had just done a 2-day, like a mini challenge. I'd spent so much work in this challenge. I did 2 master classes back to back, one day after the other. And I had promoted it heavily, both to my list and online. And it was a great success. I met some lovely people. They were so adorable. They showed up, they took part, it should have been a great success. And in many ways it was. I got great feedback from it. I learned a lot. But I had a financial idea in my mind, and I wanted to sell a group program that I had created. Okay. And I was coming towards the close of cart. Okay. So I had had my cart open for about a week, and I was coming up to the close of cart, and nobody had booked. So I had spent all this time and effort. It was a program I had been running one-to-one. So, okay, I didn't create the program. That was already running, and it was running really successfully one-to-one. But I wanted to bring it out to a group program. I don't know whether that's ever happened to you before. Let me know. Okay. So I had spent all the time, to like an hour a day, maybe an hour and a half high, maybe an hour and a half, interacting with people, sharing information, telling them everything about how they could attract more clients. Okay. And I'm coming up to my close of cart. And I can't remember. There was something more to it that I just can't remember now. But I had 3 discovery calls lined up this morning when I was in this very office. Okay. I had my eye on the closing cart for the next day. And I was like, it's okay. Everybody knows you always close the cart with sales. Like the day of close cart, you always sell. Okay. So I was like, okay, that's tomorrow and fine. I've had people show up, to the training. They're going to come tomorrow, but great. Do you know what? I have 3 people booked on my discovery calls today. So I sat down, got myself nice and comfy. And it was early, so I have a daughter. She has additional needs, and I had gotten her out to school or to crash or wherever she was. It would have been crash actually at the time. And I sat down and I was like, right, a 9 o'clock call. Okay. And it was 9:05 and no sign of said person. So I checked my emails and I went, oh, maybe they can't get the Zoom to work. Okay, fine. So in I went and I checked and there was another booking from this person. So I was like, oh, that's funny. She's booked another call next week. That's odd. Okay. Well, I better just reach out. I think I had at that stage and gone, look, did you get the Zoom link? Because that's what I normally do. And quite often, I don't know about you, but it's quite often what happens to me is I click into Zoom and the flipping thing updates. And you're like, darn it, why did you update right now? I'm just about to jump on a call with somebody. Tell me if that happens to you. Let me know if that happens to you. So then I saw there was an email. Okay. So she had written back to me and she said, oh, actually, I wasn't able to cancel our meeting. No, indeed. You're not able to cancel a meeting with a professional person half an hour beforehand. That's madness. Their time is important. But she continued, I looked at my schedule and I just realized I was a bit behind on my course. So sorry about that. Can't make the call, but I've rescheduled. Talk to you then. Well, dragon fire emerged from my nostrils. I was like, thankfully, in my closed office, bleepity bleep, 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 bleep. How disrespectful. We just could not believe it. Not only to realize, oh, I can't reschedule for a reason, but then to say, oh, like, sorry, I basically didn't manage my time well enough to actually turn up for this call. So I was like so mad. Then in the next 3 hours, I had a further 2 cancellations. And that's when I realized, oh, okay. Now I did actually email that lady back and said, listen, listen, love, we're not going to be talking again because if you can't organize your schedule, then you're not ready to work with me. So that was boundary starting to come in, number 1. Okay. And I realized at that moment that actually this was entirely my fault. Okay. This was entirely my fault. I had actually created this situation and I want to stop it from happening to you. So let me know, by all means, let me know what you think. Like, does this happen to you? Is this a familiar scenario? Okay. So I'm going to talk you through like what I needed to do, but I'm also going to share 5 tips with you. I'm going to share 5 tips with you so that you can use boundaries and to really improve your sales calls. Okay. So it's so important. I had created this absolute hot mess. I'd called in the wrong people. I called in obviously somebody who wasn't prioritizing her business. I mean, I study. I always upskill as I'm running my business. I'm a learner. I absolutely adore to learn. But I run my business and make sure largely that I get to every meeting. I'm human. Of course I make mistakes. But you know, I act as a professional in my business. So I realized though that morning that it hadn't just happened once, it happened 3 times. That one person with the course, the second person, I think, forgot. And the third person had an emergency and got called away. And I just thought, okay, Elaine, roll up the sleeves. Let's go. Let's go and look at the language around your consult calls. What are you saying? And who are you calling in? Because nobody, so 3 no shows and no bookings. And then when the cart closed, no bookings, none. So it's like, right. When I reached out to people to find out why they hadn't booked, the feedback that I received was that they would have loved to have done my group program, but they just didn't have the money yet. So, so 2 things there. I hadn't clearly specified the value strongly enough to overcome their price sensitivity, or I was calling in the wrong people. So here come the tips. Make sure that you stay until tip number 5 because it's juicy and it's going to change your discovery calls and save you so much time, I can tell you. So number 1, okay, number 1 in creating boundaries so that you can help your sales calls really, really rocket. Number 1 is, and I've got notes, so I'm going to look down because I want to make sure that I give you everything that's in my mind, okay? So if you see me looking down, that's why, okay? I just want to make sure that I give you everything that I've got. The first one is you've got to create a clear boundary or niche for the part of the solution that you offer. So let me know, what do you do? Okay, so let me know in the comments. What do you do? What do you do? Okay, so for example, in my case, I help coaches or service providers to land more clients. That's what I do. I do it with my clients and I help them improve their business, to take a business that has clients, but maybe not enough clients, and really take it into growth. So it's much more consistent. Okay. So I do that using social media, networking, and LinkedIn. Okay. I really lean into LinkedIn, but sure, I also, like, for example, I work with a client on TikTok as well. It's just how she leaned. She leaned towards TikTok. So we help build her visibility there. That's fine. But largely, I use LinkedIn. Largely, I really use LinkedIn. Now, I don't help people find jobs on LinkedIn. It's not my bag. I don't work for the man anymore. I didn't enjoy working for the man. I don't. Or the woman or the whatever. You know, I don't enjoy being in Ireland. It's a PAYE worker. Okay. It's not my bag. I don't like being told what to do. We have to know ourselves and love ourselves, you know? So I don't do that. Okay. So if that's what you want, sorry, I can't work with you. So there's my boundary. It's a very clear one. All right. I help my clients to grow their visibility. I help them to grow, not to grow their credibility. They have it. They have it. They are experienced at what they do. They usually have a really good business that has good parts to it, but it's just not working well enough. Okay. And I help them attract clients because that's my specialty. I used to work in advertising and I used to work with clients, and by God, I can work with a client. Okay. So that's my specialty. That's my niche. Okay. That's the boundary. So what's your boundary? Okay. What's your boundary? And are you being clear about it? That's number one. Number two, use specific language to call in your client. Now, I'm not saying something like, I don't know, yoga loving professionals who like cats. No, no. But what I'm saying is go now if you want, like if you have a laptop and a phone and you're watching me on one, go open the other one, okay? And go and see, okay, on my LinkedIn profile, who do I say that I work with? What do I say I do? What specific part of the problem do I help people with? If you help homeowners declutter, then they have to be homeowners, right? They can't be renting, potentially. If you help mums lose the baby weight, then they are at a certain point in their journey. If you work with people to build, like for example, let's say you're a business coach, okay? If you help them to get to the next level of their business, then watch out. If you're saying things like spark success, then you're indicating you work with beginners. So watch your language, okay? Use specific language. So create that boundary around your language, identify very clearly, okay, what part of the puzzle do I actually fix? And hold yourself accountable to that. Make sure that you're not saying, in my case, one of my mistakes was attract clients. No, in fact, I should have been more specific and said in that case, attract more clients, because saying I help businesses grow or I help businesses attract more clients more often, more consistently, that helps people go, okay, well, Elaine won't work with me because I'm at the beginning of my journey. So do you know what I mean? I have worked with people at the beginning of their journey, but largely I work with people who have already got their business. And certainly if they're at the beginning of their journey, it's usually a fact that they have been in corporate roles and they have left. So they have years of experience. They know exactly what they're going to do. And they have lots of experience to draw on. And that's who I work with. I don't work with people who are at the beginning. However, like I said at the top, that was where I made my mistake. I was obviously using beginning language in my posts, in my webinar, and I called in the wrong people. So they were wishy-washy and they didn't show up to the calls. Don't make the same mistake as I did, okay? Number 3, stay until number 5. It is an absolute belter. Number 3, follow up with the people that you believe will work with you, that you believe you can help get the results for them, okay? Don't waste your time following up with people who aren't going to get those results. Take yourself out of that, I have to work with everybody, kind of a desperation zone, all right? You can't work with everybody. You can't, all right? You have to be specific about who you share your diary with or your calendar and who you can help, because you can't help everybody. That's just the honest truth. And create a boundary around that, okay? So just think about it. If you've just been networking, if you have done a webinar based on the questions that you got, or, somebody caught your eye, make sure that you're following up with the people who you think are going to buy from you. And that goes the whole way through to your website. Make sure that you're calling out who you work with well and who will not work with you well, okay? Well, just won't suit you, okay? Number 4, have a thought out plan, okay? I mean, like for the year. Just have an overview plan of your year. So for example, for me, my daughter we're going on holidays at the beginning of August, and then in the back 2.5 weeks, we don't have childcare. So in August, I know that I'm not going to have a rake of one-to-one clients. So I limit my schedule in August to a handful of one-to-one clients. And I use that time in August to grab an hour here and there when I'm not on holiday. When I'm on holiday, I'm on holiday. But when I'm not on holiday, I allocate maybe an hour or two to create my course, I have a 5-star LinkedIn profile course. I have a how to build a list with ease. And quite often I add a little module here and there to those, or add a bonus, or I might tweak a sales page a little bit. So just think about what your plan is for what you're doing, and think about your holidays and work back accordingly. Create clear objectives for everything, especially when you're posting, okay? Especially when you're sharing content. Just keep doubling down on, why am I doing this? Okay. I'm a big believer in imperfect action. Don't get me wrong. Anybody who's hung around here in this community or followed me for any length of time knows that I really believe in imperfect action, just going and doing it. But my going and doing it has a purpose. And that purpose is improvement. Okay. So I always want you to think, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Okay. And put a boundary around that. Okay. Thank you so much for staying for number 5, but it is important. Number 5 is a game changer, and it was a game changer for me, thanks to my coach. And so I'm going to share number 5 with you. Number 5, my 5th tip for creating boundaries that result in sales is having a sales system, having an actual plan to your sales system. And I mean, now this sounds Bobby basic, okay, but it's important. When I network, I look to speak to 2 people. So I always want to speak to 2 people after the meeting. So I either, depending on where you're networking, you either get a lead sheet, or you get, maybe you save the chat, depending on where you network, okay? But I always want to speak to 2 people afterwards. So in the meeting, that's what I'm looking for. So out of your actions, what are you looking for, okay? And write it down. Then I don't share my calendar in that particular instance. I actually ring them. So I don't ring to have a sales call. No. I ring so that I can make an appointment to meet and talk and listen. Okay. And listen to what they need. Okay. Then if they're not available, I leave a message and I say, I'm going to ring you back tomorrow. So I ring them back tomorrow. So I follow up, okay? I am professional. I behave in a professional manner. And then I have actions that I take, and I share these with my clients. I do what I say I'm going to do. And that results in people just knowing that they are working with a professional, that they are going to speak to a professional person. And it gives me another tick in terms of credibility and authority. So do you have a plan that helps you both with your behavior and works for you with behavior you don't enjoy? So for example, I actually don't like getting on the phone, but my solution is not to share a calendar, because then people might book 2 weeks out. And people who book 2 weeks out, well, they may not be showing up. And then you've got your no-show issue. Whereas if I ring somebody and I talk to them, I get a good feeling for them. I hear in their voice whether they're interested or not. And we book the appointment, and then I have a better idea of how it's going to go. And you can do the same thing too. Thank you for that. I don't believe in sending an email instead of a phone call to arrange a meeting. I think it's a complete waste of time. And I am guilty of it. I do send them. I'm not saying that I don't, okay? But if you think about it, an email just wastes more time because you have an email back and forth. Whereas if you ring somebody and they pick up the phone or they don't, at least then you're not waiting. So this is what happens when you send an email. Tell me if this resonates with you. I don't know, let's say, hi, Jenny. It was lovely to meet you at the speed networking with 4N on Wednesday, for example, right? I'd love to do a one-to-one. When are you available? Well, when are they available? And by the time they come back to you and tell you whether they're available or not, then they've given you some times. Then maybe you go back and go, oh yeah, Wednesday morning suits me. But then what can you do with Wednesday morning or even Wednesday, even if you've said Wednesday between 10 and 11, then let's say there's other people you want to talk to. Well, do you wait? And if you've said to them Wednesday 10 to 11 and then they come back to you the next day, but you've already booked it, it just slows everything down. And this whole idea that booking clients can take time, well, that's where it's created, is that waste of time. Whereas if you know, okay, I haven't got hold of that person, I can ring somebody else, then you're able to take action by creating this boundary. Does that make sense? Okay, so create these boundaries. These boundaries, I know it sounds like, oh, but boundaries make me not as available. But that's not true. Boundaries really help. Boundaries really help. I'm going to talk more about this on Wednesday, the 19th of July, at 1 p.m. UK and Ireland on my masterclass. It's a 1-hour masterclass that you can come and ask questions. And I'm going to talk about how you can sign more clients with a discovery call. I'm going to talk about the kind of content you should be producing. I'm going to talk about like how to prepare and how to sell on a discovery call without the ick. Okay. So if you are struggling with the sales part of the journey, then, please come along and help yourself improve that, because it doesn't have to be hard. And the reality is that if you have a business of any shape or form, you must sell, because otherwise you don't have a business. Okay. So come and join me. Sales is so important. It's so important that I've realized that I need to add it on to my next round of LinkedIn to Leads, which is my group program. Okay, so the next time I run my LinkedIn to Leads group program, it won't be a 12-week program anymore. It's going to be a 16-week program, because I'm going to add a sales component to it into the discovery call part of the course, to make sure that the people who are working with me in the group program get the support that they need to make sure that their discovery call aspect of the LinkedIn to Leads is really working hard for them. Okay, so listen, follow for more. Follow for more. And I'm going to share the links on Instagram. There is a link to that webinar in my stories, and everywhere else I'm going to share it in the link with the live video. So thank you so much for joining me today and spending time with me. I really hope that has helped you, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at my How to Sign More Clients from Your Discovery Call. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. See you.